Martin Chulov, you just left Syria yesterday. What did you see?
An extraordinary series of events near the border, with people rushing for what they thought would be the very last time they could exit the country. There was very definitely a change in atmosphere, and we thought that that represented almost a power shift taking place in real time. Cars disappeared from the streets, others rushed for the border, people became scared and cowed, they asked us to leave. There was a vacuum, which was almost like the effects of a historical shift taking place in real time.
I'll ask you more about that in a second, but first, just in terms of what's practically going on, what is happening with those 10,000 or so Islamic State prisoners that we've heard about in that northeastern Syria border region?
So there are at least 5,000 of them in one particular camp called Ain Issa. That is a lot closer to the fighting than the other camps, and what has happened there in the last couple of days is potentially instructive as to what might happen in the rest of the region in the coming weeks. We've seen there that the camp guards have literally walked away, and some of those ISIS members or accused ISIS members, rather than breaking out, have simply walked out. They're sitting there in the deserts looking for food, looking for things to drink, and there are simply no guards around them. There are growing fears that the other camps, and one of the main ones holds upwards of 70,000 accused ISIS members and their families, may simply disintegrate, that security there may melt away. If that was to happen, that represents a very clear risk to global security, and precisely the thing that people have been warning about 1 week after Donald Trump's decision to walk away from the Kurds.
On another risk to global security, there's been reporting that the US has 50 tactical nuclear weapons stored in Turkey. How concerning is what might happen to those, and is it even clear now if the US and Turkey remain allies?
I don't think that things really have diminished to the point where the nuclear weapons or the security of them could be called into question. They're useful leverage when it comes to any political discussions. The bottom line is, though, that Donald Trump, in walking away from Syria, served up what the Turkish president wanted, which was to cut out a swathe of influence for his own interests in the northeast of the country. The Americans have left in a weak position. The Turks are walking in saying our friend, sometimes foe or frenemy, is weaker than it was. I think they're using that as leverage for whatever comes next, but I don't anticipate there to be any real threat to the nuclear arsenal currently kept in Turkey.
You mentioned that power shift that you could palpably feel on the ground in Syria. Stepping back and looking at the big picture in the region, the US withdrawal shores up Iran and Russia's positions there. How could that play out more broadly for the Middle East?
Well, very definitely the vacuum that has been created has been rapidly filled by Russia in particular. Russia have brokered a deal between the Kurds of the northeast and Damascus, allowing Damascus, the central government, to come back to the region and take up the border points, which would appease Turkey because it gives a buffer between the Turks and the Kurds of Syrian Arab forces of the central government. So that gives them leverage in terms of what comes next. Iran will feel outmaneuvered by this. They also see northeastern Syria as very strategic and a place in which they want to impose their own influence, especially after the Americans have left. They will be contesting for influence there. I do think that they will probably reach out to the Kurds at some point and say that we're your only remaining friend, nobody else has got your back.
Martin Chulov, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, Lee.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.